Acoustic Crossroads is brought to you by the Team One Automotive Group, Riverview Regional Medical Center, and Family Savings Credit Union. Now, here's Kelli Johnson.
Welcome to Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads. I'm your host, Kelli Johnson. We've got a great show lined up for you today. The Alabama poet Andy Deason will be here, accompanied by the beautiful Alabama Annie, and you'll find out why this guy's hanging around with us. But first, I'm going to open us up with an original song of mine called I'm Not Crying Over You.
I've made mine. Still we argue who hurt who worse. Neither way we both lose. And you hold another and say you love her. What am I supposed to do? Maybe I should call you up tonight just to see if you're alright. But I don't miss you. No, I don't miss you, darling. And if I can't sleep the whole night through, it don't mean I still love you. I might be crying, but I'm not crying over you. Too much pride, too much wasted time. You've got your friends, now I've got mine. So I'll drink to us and think of all those games I know we'll play. This'll cost too much for the both of us, but it's a price we'll pay. Maybe I should call you up tonight just to see if you're alright. But I don't miss you. No, I don't miss you, darling. And if I can't sleep the whole night through, it don't mean I still love you. I might be crying, but I'm not crying over you. Maybe I should call you up tonight just to see if you're alright. But I don't miss you unless you miss me, darling. And if I can't sleep the whole night through, it don't mean I still love you. I might be crying, but I'm not crying over you. I'm not crying over you. I'm not crying over you. I'm not crying over you.
That was I'm Not Crying Over You. I'm Kelli Johnson, and we'll be right back with Alabama poet Andy Deason and Miss Alabama Annie. Welcome back to Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. I'm your host, Kelly Johnson. Our guest today is Andy Deason. Make sure you check out kacrossroads.com for more info on Andy. You can see his episode there. A link to that goes straight to tv24.tv where you can watch it on demand. And make sure you go by and check out our sponsors. Right now we're going to feature Andy Deason on Alabama weather.
First it's love, and you think it's gonna last forever. Next day it changes like that Alabama weather. Feelings only last for a moment or two and then they're gone. Some feelings come back and some it's best just to leave them alone. You gotta remember the good times, leave that bad stuff at the door. Don't carry that weight, boy, it'll make your shoulders sore. Love and heartache, they go hand in hand. I ain't never loved a woman that I could understand. That's the joy of it all, to feel those feelings again. That rush that runs through your body when she holds your hand. Yeah, it's love, and you're sure it's gonna last forever. Next day it changes like that Alabama weather. Yeah, you gotta remember the good times. Leave that bad stuff at the door. Don't carry that weight, boy, it'll make your shoulders sore. Love and heartache, they go hand in hand. I ain't never loved a woman that I could understand. No, I ain't never loved a woman that I could understand.
And that was my guest, Alabama poet Andy Deason, and his guest, Miss Alabama Annie.
Hello.
Thank you guys for being here.
Hey, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I love what you're doing. And
Thank you.
I was reading up a little bit on you, and it says you were a restaurateur, grocer, chef, construction worker, dog breeder. You were in the Navy, and now, of course, a poet and an author. How did you kind of go through all of those things? And
I got bored for one thing. I'm still a dog. I've still got my dogs, but I don't breed them any longer. But I was a poet, and I loved poetry as a child. And I just had a blast. My mother and daddy bought me some books, and I won some contests in grammar school. And Dean Martin, Neil Diamond, Andy Williams. I listened to the lyrics and just fell in love and started writing little goofy little poems when I was a kid, but it grew. And about 92, 93, some friends of mine had started writing again seriously, and they said, Andy, if you'll get them together, we'll get you a book. I didn't think they knew what they were talking about. And sure enough, I got them together, though, after about a year, and they got my books published. And I've had 4 published now, and it's just so amazing what's happened since all that. I'm getting to live my dream, and I didn't feel like I needed to wait any longer.
well, that's so great. Yeah, and it's funny, through all the different things your life has taken you through, it sounds like poetry was something that was with you very early on and always with you.
I left some out from the 70s and 80s that was kind of dark, but since then it's more of an upbeat kind of thing, and I write about everything. But I can write with my hands, but sometimes it won't come out here unless I'm performing it.
Right.
And even doing the comedy, I was going to tell you that I would practice what I was going to do, but when I would get up on stage, it never was what I practiced. I'd open my mouth and it would just start. And,
it takes on a life of its own.
Yes, and I love it. I'm clean. But I love comedy, but it's not my forte. I mean, and I've changed direction here. I like to sell my books. I like to do poetry readings. I go to Love Shooters downtown, spoken word, foreign exchange. I love to go do the poetry down there, and I love the passion these young people have. And they get a kick out of this old man. And I just love joining up with Annie here. We've opened up a new direction, and her son Chaz had a lot to do with that. I was bored. I was waiting on a book. I had a guitar friend that played with me, And we went up there, and we didn't win the contest, but we were the most entertaining.
I bet.
And we were, and
yeah.
I met a lot of people, and I decided to hang around, do some networking, and therefore I met Gloria. I met some great people, and just having a blast doing this.
We were talking about that earlier, the network, and a lot of times artists are so involved in their music and their poetry or whatever they're doing, they forget that you have to connect with people, and networking is vital.
Yes, I mean, if you don't do that, then you don't really sell anything, and you're not remembered.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to get out there and let them know that you're a human being. Speak with them.
Right.
And it's just been a blessing these past few years, and I love it.
Well, it sounds like you're loving what you do, and we've got your T-shirt that you got, that you made hanging up there behind us.
And that's for you. And
it's a great likeness of you.
A friend of mine, and Daniel Hudson, did this for me, and I've got a lot of them. I probably got T-shirts for life, but I love it. And someone asked me one day, they said, "Well, why did you do that, Andy?" I said, "Well, they said, why did you put your face on it?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going to put yours." I said, "But I love it." I said, "Everybody needs a T-shirt with their face on it."
Yeah.
And,
or Andy Deason's face on it.
Yes,
yes. A T-shirt with it.
And I sell these. I've got good, reasonable prices depending on how much money I have. I run sales all the time.
So the T-shirt is some of your merchandise that you sell on your website?
Yes, I do that, and it shows.
All of your books are for sale on your website?
Yes, they are. If you're Facebook and AndyDeason.com, I've changed some partners, some business partners, and they're getting my new website kicked in now, and it ought to be up within the week.
That should be, and that's AndyDeason.com.
Yes.
But the Facebook, you were able to get Andy Deason, the Poetry Man, on Facebook,
yes, and
they can connect
her son
with you there.
did that for me.
Awesome.
He even told me, he said, "I don't think you're going to be able to get the Poetry Man." And so he types it, he said, "Well, you got the Poetry Man."
And so Chaz was one of our earliest guests on.
But I tell you, I just think the world of him. He's got a fire that I don't think it'll ever go out.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I love being around people that have that passion about the music and the stuff and the poetry and the artistic stuff. And it seems like, Andy, you have that passion for sure.
Well, I do. I love it. And thank you. I've enjoyed this. Has been a blast. This will be a day to remember.
I bet. Well, we're going to remember it for sure, and we're going to hear some more great music and poetry coming from Andy Deason. Y'all stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. I'm here with the Alabama poet Andy Deason and Miss Alabama Annie. And we were talking a little bit about how you've been in poetry all your life, but you kind of added another step. You've brought music into it really well, and you found a wonderful partner to do that with. We love Miss Alabama Annie.
Well, I tell you, it was a godsend. A couple of friends of mine, one real good friend of mine, Lee Godin, he came up and we started doing this, and he liked the blues, and I'm really not like a per se blues writer, so I mean. When I sing, I've got the blues. But he and I started doing this, and he'd give me a catchy little tune, and I'd throw the words, and we'd make a recording, and then he'd remember what he did. And then all of a sudden, I hear that Downtown Tavern here in Gaston's having an open mic, singer-songwriter. So I come up here, and I think the first night I did it, I met Gloria. And but she was a judge. And we never won the singer-songwriter, which I wasn't worried about that, but we were the most entertaining.
I bet.
And we had a blast, and I started staying and meeting people, started the networking, and just the people I've met up here and the places I've got to perform, Rue Bourbons and Mini Rue. I've just had a blast doing it. And to get on stage and do this and and I'm not a singer. I like to have some friends say that I'm more like a balladeer. Because
that's the feeling.
And I get to do my poetry, and you get to hear every word.
Yeah.
I don't think you lose any words in it, and it's just fired me up. And then over the course, I had some things happen. I knew some direction. I needed to make another direction, and Gloria and I started doing this, and I just see it as a good connection and something that I hope lasts a long time.
I do too. Gloria is an excellent artist as well, and author as well.
Yes.
And we were talking earlier about how my 9-year-old loves to listen to your stories on CD, and I hope you do some more of those, because it's just adds so much to hear you telling those stories.
I have several under my hat.
Awesome,
So.
very good. You yourself have written several books and poetry and music.
Well,
and
I've made stabs and attempts at 3 books so far. Right now, I'm working on the novel.
The novel.
But she reads that to me on Sundays. She'll read me some, and I love it.
I keep them entertained because it's about Mentone, Alabama, and I have a different take on Mentone than some people do. So it's kind of a fantasy world, almost like Harry Potter.
Oh wow!
And so
that's pretty cool.
And we are doing a show September 4th.
We are at Kamama's.
And Mentone has a great music scene up there.
It does.
So, is that somewhere y'all are at pretty often, or?
No, it'll be my first time ever.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm at Kamama's about once or twice a year. And a lot of good artists come through there. They have a Facebook page. It's always very informative about the artist and very interesting, and it's a variety.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, it sounds like y'all are just kind of discovering this duo as a musical thing, and it's starting off wonderful, I think. I mean, you fit together really nicely.
I think it was May. Wasn't it May we went to Milton, Florida?
That's right, that's right.
We did our first show together in Milton, Florida.
In an authentic juke joint.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Which is, in my blues world, that was a yes.
Yes. And,
but when I listen to Andy, and when we do these gigs together now, some of the gigs I still do solo, and some with other people, but these gigs remind me of the early days of the beatnik movement with the spoken word. And in fact, Andy is we're hoping to incorporate the drum into this.
We're going
snare
to.
and brushes. And just throw another added little twist to it.
That would be awesome. I like that. Just, every little bit of percussion adds that little bit of flavor.
Yes, and
stuff,
it gives a little bit of a beat, and it keeps my hands beating.
That is very important. So you write most of the words, and Gloria, do you just kind of come up with whatever riff that kind of comes to mind?
I listen to what he reads me, and then I'll say, oh, well, this might go with that. And I might not do it the same twice or even once completely. But it always seems to mesh.
Right.
So.
Well, it seems like it's so practiced when you're doing it and we watch you perform. You know what chords to go to while you're listening to him. It just seems the flow is there.
Well, and I've started listening more, and I find the openings that she gives me. And I like to take a little bit of time in between a verse, which I'm having to work on, instead of spitting it out, because I go and do my poetry at the spoken word, and I just go right through it. And I want to slow it down now. And it's just a lot of fun.
We are in the South, Tate.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. Well, we're going to hear another one of the originals. This is Wishing Well. This is Andy Deason and Miss Alabama Annie.
Waiting for the sound of the train on the track. Won't be long before it come on back. Back and forth, south and north, I don't know. East or west, it's your guess. Where's it gonna go? I'm just waiting on the sound of the train on the track. Praying to my Jesus, I get my baby back. For the sound of the train on the track. Won't be long before it come on back. She's been gone much too long, as far as I can tell. I spent all my money, and it may sound funny, I threw it in the wishing well. Just waiting on the sound of the train on the track. I'm praying to my Jesus, I get my baby back. I'm praying to my Jesus, I get my baby back. Waiting on the sound of the train on the track. Won't be long before it come on back. Back and forth, south or north, I don't know. East or west, it's your guess. Where's it gonna go? I'm just waiting on the sound of the train on the track. Praying to my Jesus, I get my baby back. Choo-choo, 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 choo-choo.
Welcome back to Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to my guest Andy Deason and Miss Alabama Annie. We sure have enjoyed having you guys.
Thank you.
Y'all make sure you check out kacrossroads.com for more from Andy and Miss Annie, and for more from our other guests and info on how to become a guest. And also thank our sponsors. Go by and tell them you saw them on Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. Right now we're going to let Andy take us out with Let It Shine.
I've loved you since that night. I don't recall which one. They all ran together, we were having fun. But I got lost in space, I got lost in time. When your love lights up like this, you gotta let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. When your love lights up like this, you gotta let it shine. I was destined to a life of talking to myself. I got my pictures on the wall and my books on the shelf. I thought I'd seen it all and I could see no more. But lately in my life I've come to see things I've never seen before. Let it shine, let it shine. When your love lights up like this, you gotta let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine.
Shine.